All right, we are now live. Welcome. We have another amazing coach and an amazing wrestling mind in our country. It's Coach Frank Beasley. Welcome, Coach. Thank you so much for coming on.
Great to be here.
Yeah. So if you don't know, it's his third season at George Mason. They were third in the EWLC this year, which now they've kind of moved over to the MAC. But that was the best finish in history. 3 qualifiers this year, which was huge. He's coached many USA athletes to world championships overseas. He was at Lincoln College where he was an All-American, and then he went on to Bloomsburg where he wrestled there as well. And he's here with us. So, Coach, how are you, man? Thank you so much for coming on. I'm really honored. I hope good things are happening for you up there at George Mason.
Yeah, no, it's a special place. I'm excited to be here. We're doing some big things, and just really excited about the young men I get to work with every day.
Awesome, man. So obviously, season was cut short this year. Unfortunately, I know I just was speaking to John Mark, and he said just being a head coach and having to talk to the qualifiers and tell them that they can't go had to be tough, man. So talk about your season being cut short, what effect it's had on your program, and what you've been doing to keep your athletes kind of ready.
Yeah, it was certainly very disappointing, and my heart went out to those guys that were qualified or in the mix to get to the national tournament at that point and do something special. And we had some guys that we thought could do some really special things at the national tournament. But with the season being cut short, it is what it is. When it first happened, I didn't realize what was going on in the world. I'd had talk with one of the guys on the team on the way to the conference tournament about it, and I didn't think it was that big a deal. I kind of discounted it. I was like, this is America. We're the richest, most best, the just the best country in the world. There's not going to be a pandemic here. Nothing's shut down. A couple days later, everything shut down. And I didn't realize it was possible. I was naive and maybe maybe naive to it. I didn't realize that could happen here, and so it ends up happening. And at the time it was kind of like, all right, well, we're gonna shut everything down. We're gonna go on an extended spring break because we're about to start spring break anyway. We're actually on spring break, I believe, and so I was like, well, it's gonna be a couple weeks. I'm gonna see everybody in a couple weeks, and we'll reconvene and we'll get everything figured out then. It really sucks of the timing, but it is what it is. And so, I think the guys on our team had a pretty mature attitude and handled it better than I would have. A guy like Colston DeBlasi in his senior year, took it as well as he could, and when he was on the brink of doing something really special. And so they handled it well. And I kind of, whenever I talked to them and kind of dismissed them to go home, it was kind of like, we'll get back together in a few weeks. We'll get back into freestyle and we'll get ready for university nationals, and we'll make a big splash this spring. And little did I know I'm sent home, and it's been over 100 days and we're still kind of feeling that. And so we aren't back yet, and so everything's been virtual, and it's been crazy. It's unprecedented times, but it also makes us realize how fortunate we are to have what we have, and how fortunate we are to have the group of young men that we have here and that we're able to work with them every day. And so I definitely miss them. We're staying as connected as we can with them during this time with Zoom calls and stuff like that. But it's different than, having them hang out in the office with us and just kind of BS with them throughout the day.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, obviously talk about your season up to that point. It was the best season that George Mason has had in 11 years. You had some qualifiers. You finished third, which was highest in history. Man, what do you attain your success to since you've been there?
Well, so those were actually last year when we were in the EWL. This past season was our first year in the MAC, and I think we had a very good team. We had some injuries this year that we hadn't had the last couple of years that really held us back from really achieving some special things. I think dual meet wise, and at the end of the year we just weren't as healthy as we could have been. And so obviously we're making some adjustments with that, but I think we're growing. And coach, there's been several coaches here before me that helped pave the foundation and lay a good framework, and trying to build on that and do something special. Be uncommon is kind of our tagline, our hashtag of, what we're trying to do and be uncommon, doing all the little things right that set us apart and make us, something special. And we're early in the building phases, being 3 years in, but we're doing something special, and we've come a long way, and we're going to continue to grow and develop. And again, a lot of credit to the people that were here before us.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, obviously you're going in the right direction, and the transition to the MAC has been good for you.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's an awesome conference. It's 14 teams now, and so it's a very good, strong conference. And Missouri's kind of at the top right now, and everybody's trying to catch up right now. And so we've got some really good teams in the conference. There's some really good coaches throughout the conference, good athletes, and really excited to be part of the conference. The EWL was historically had been good. And, over the years is kind of wasn't where it used to be. And so when we had the opportunity to join the MAC and kind of merge into the MAC as the EWL, I think it was the right move for the whole league. And it's been really good. And, now we got to keep climbing that ladder within the MAC.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, talk about you've had you had a young man, Tajon Anthony, last year that became the first title winner in EWL prior to moving to the MAC. And talk about the young man and what he's doing and his growth and where he's at today.
Yeah. So Tion's a great young man. He was here when I got here, and was one of the people that really stepped into a leadership role. Whenever I first got here and helped guide the team, it's always a difficult transition for kids whenever one coach leaves and another coach comes in, and so he helped really in a leadership role. Did a great job, and I believe he didn't place at the conference year before I got here, and then he qualified his first year here that I was here, and finished fourth. He took a true fourth spot in the conference and earned the spot. And had to do some tough things. He was at 41. He was struggling to make it. Ended up going up to 49, and right at the end, we brought him back down to 41 for the conference tournament. It ended up working out, and he qualified. And so he went from not placing to qualifying. And then the following year, he went from fourth to winning the conference, and 149. Had some great growth. And, he's our first and last EWL champion now that the league's no more. So really a trendsetter here, a trailblazer, I guess. For the program. Great young man. He's working locally. Actually, he works with the same company that my wife works for. So they hired him as soon as he graduated here at George Mason. He's still here locally working in Georgetown, right outside DC. So we're fortunate that he's able to come in and still work out the guys here and there and mentor some of these guys. And we actually had him on our Zoom call a couple weeks ago, just provide some knowledge and some perspective for our guys. And he's an outstanding young man, and love him, and excited to see him continue to grow and develop just as a person. But he's be really successful, a really hardworking, good person.
That's awesome. And you know what? He's always going to be able to say, "Hey, I'm the only person in the history of George Mason to win that title." So.
Yeah, we actually when I got here, I told the guys when they win the conference, they can get a ring, a watch, or a belt. And so we got them this sweet WWF style belt. It's huge, and it's the first one, and hopefully we'll have a whole lot more of them in the MAC now. But it's a pretty sweet thing.
Awesome. Well, I know as a coach, you have had a lot of success. I read about you over at NC State, coaching up a lot of amazing athletes over there and helping them become successful athletes and humans. But I know you spend a lot of your time at the Wolfpack Regional Training Center over there, working with a lot of our USA athletes that are in the area, and you've coached a lot of them to some big wins and big places overseas. Talk about the Regional Training Center, talk about coaching the USA athletes, and just what do you think has made the transition into coaching so successful for you?
Yeah, well, with the Wolfpack Regional Training Center, I was at NC State for 5 years, and while I was there, I, was very involved in the Wolfpack Regional Training Center, and I was fortunate to have a lot of great athletes. And that was one of the things that we focused on there was we wanted to keep our best and brightest, and you see that they've done that, and they continue to do that. Obviously Gwizdowski kind of leading the charge, and I was fortunate to coach him to a world bronze medal and be part of the USA World Championship team. So I'm very fortunate for that, and they've kept other great wrestlers there like Michael Machiavello and Tommy Gant and so many others that have been there and whatnot. But it's a special thing to keep those guys involved in the program and mentoring the young guys. And so I had a great experience there, and it provided me some opportunities to get involved with USA Wrestling more than I was previously. And that was a great experience. It's a lot of first class people there and all the best in the US, and I'm biased, but we're the best in the world. Right. So
That's awesome.
and so very fortunate to be involved there. And now here at George Mason, we have the Patriot Elite Regional Training Center that, we're looking to do the very similar thing. And again, it's early in the building phases, but we're planning to keep our best and brightest here that want to continue to wrestle post-college and do something special after college.
It's awesome. Well, you've brought your wrestling skills now, or your coaching skills as well, to George Mason. And so talk about George Mason, talk about the philosophy, your culture, and kind of, I know you spoke a little bit about what you're building there, but tell us. So, why George Mason as a recruit? What type of athlete are you looking for? And for me, for a kid out there that's wrestling, why is George Mason the place for them?
Yeah. So again, it's be uncommon, do all the little things most people aren't willing to do, go above and beyond. To me, you win by doing everything right. It's not just what you do in the wrestling room for a few hours each day. It's a big part of it, but it's everything. It's the way you interact with your friends. It's the way you get along with your coaches and the family, teammates, friends, everything. It's how you study, how you do the little things, how you do everything. And so it's to me, the better person you are in every area, the more you win. The more distractions you have, the less you win, right? And so when kids are doing everything right socially, we have a zero tolerance policy on drugs and alcohol. When they're doing everything right socially, that takes a lot of stress off. Our kids were in the top 10 in the country in team GPA this past year and had our highest semester over semester, the last 3 or 4 semesters. In my time here, we've had some pretty high semesters that have been building is what I'm trying to say. And so we're in the top 10 in the country this past year, and we expect to be higher this coming year. And so, by having all their schoolwork in order, that's another thing that eliminates stress and allows them to focus on, the things they need to focus on to be really successful and ultimately sets them up for a better life. And so it's doing all those little things. It's going above and beyond and setting a new standard. And so we're excited about what we're building, but we do it by getting the right people. And that's the biggest thing, it's get the right people on the bus and the right seats and good things are going to happen. And I'm very fortunate to have a great staff here that I was able to bring in. And so that's where it kind of started. And then with that, you start adding in the right recruits that fit our philosophy, our program, our culture. We have a very, very close-knit team that care about each other and push each other. And when you find the right people that fit that culture, good things are going to happen because we got 30 some odd guys that are all with the same mentality, attitude, work ethic, and character. And those are the things we can't really compromise on. One bad apple character will ruin a lot of others. So, when you have high character, work ethic, and it's just a recipe for some great things to happen. And so, if there's an area that I would personally be willing to compromise on that, it would be, God-given natural ability or talent or whatever you want to call it, because at the end of the day, that's easy to make up if you're doing everything else right.
Nice. And you already have your recruiting class that's coming in. Are you happy with it? Big things to come. The future looks bright.
Yeah, I love this class. I mean, this is the biggest class I've had since I've been here. And it's a big class and it's a really good class. And, looking up and down the class, you see, I see, and I talk about it with my staff a lot. It's like, there's so many guys in this class that could be 4-year starters that are, guys that are make a huge impact, whether it's right away or after a redshirt year. It's like you always want to keep building and adding to it, but it's almost like, it fixed our needs, so to speak, and really not only to provide depth across the board in almost every weight, but it also provided impact wrestlers kind of right out of chute in a lot of weights. And so there's going to be a lot of battles to start this year that maybe we haven't had the last few years. And I'm really excited about where we're headed with that because I think this is a really special class. There's a lot of guys that maybe weren't the highest ranked guy, but guys that are, fit the culture, fit the mentality, are gritty, tough, great students, great people. They're going to do something really special with their life. And I can't wait to get them all in here and get them all together.
That's awesome. So Mishma Atieno was like, wow, sweet. And then Nick Adam is like, Franklin, go GMU. So you got a couple shout outs there coming through and that's great. And do you think the competition in the MAC is gonna help create better wrestlers or better wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to seek out the best competition. I think the MAC is a great conference and provides a lot of very, very high quality competition. And so, it's that's definitely part of it. We want to wrestle everybody, and long-term goal is to win team trophies at the NCAA tournament. And that's what we're aiming for. It's not to be a top 30 or top 25 or whatnot. It's to do something special. It's never been done here before. And so that's where we're headed. And, if we're, once we're winning the MAC, we'll be in the mix for that because obviously, you look at some of the teams in the MAC that's had success and, Missouri's been a staple in the top 10 for the last however long. And Ryan Smith's done a great job there building the program. And Coach Borelli at Central Michigan has had a long story of history of success in the MAC and nationally, and a lot of other great coaches in there as well that are building. And but I guess historically, those two probably have had the most success historically. And so if once we're beating those teams, then we're going to be right in the mix to bring home team trophies, and that's the expectation.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm sure with recruiting now, being able to say, man, we're going against some of the best is going to help get kids to George Mason as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, every good wrestler wants to wrestle good competition. They don't want to wrestle, some bum they can beat up on. And so we have a very well-balanced schedule where we get a good variety of competition and tournaments and duels and everything. And so, the MAC helps provide a very good base of competition.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and you're in a great area, Fairfax, Virginia. You're locally beautiful around there, DC, the Carolinas, Georgia, Pennsylvania. I mean, you can go anywhere you want, and a beautiful town. So, why not Fairfax? Why not George Mason? I wish you all the best in recruiting and getting good teams there, and a lot of success in the MAC. And I'm going to get into my 10 questions. Are you ready?
As ready as I can be.
All right. Well, Fairfax or Raleigh?
Fairfax.
The Civil War trails or the county trails?
The county trails.
NRA Museum or the Railroad Museum?
The Railroad Museum.
Daniels Run Park or Burke Lake?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably Daniels Run. We go there a lot more because of our kids.
Acontic Park or Fairfax Villa?
Fairfax Villa.
All right. Stream Valley Trail or Difficult Run River?
Difficult Run River.
Little Italian or Pomodoro Pizza?
Ciro's. The Ciro's is our spot. It's right by us. So.
Oh, Ciro's. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Artie's or Coastal Flats?
Ooh. Both from the same family. We go to both quite a bit. Artie's a little closer to the school, but I like Coastal Flats a little bit better.
Oh, perfect. Let's see.
That was the toughest one yet. That was
that was good. Well, I was trying to look around and see what goes on in Virginia. I got Rappahannock oysters or Chesapeake Bay blue crabs.
Chesapeake Bay Blue Crabs.
All right. And then here we go. 2 staples in your area, Chesapeake crab cakes or country ham biscuits.
The crab cakes for sure.
Crab cakes for sure. Well, the country ham biscuits, I'm sure where you are not like back at Raleigh. When I used to travel in the carnival, we used to call the Raleigh State Fair the granddaddy. That was 25 years ago. And they used to have the ham biscuits with the apple butter. And we used to look forward to that. We'd wake up early in the morning before the fair opened. They used to have this little commissary joint that would open up and they would serve breakfast to all the carnies. And you'd go up there with a nice country ham biscuit and some of that apple butter. And it was tremendous.
You're making me hungry here.
Yeah. And it seems like that's just the way of the world where you are, because you'd go to McDonald's and your ham biscuit in McDonald's in the Carolinas and the Virginias are not like the ones down here. You get real country ham, you get real margarine, you get the good stuff, the goods. So it's awesome. Well, hey, I love doing this. I'm so blessed. I started the platform because I wanted to just be a voice for wrestling and allow people to meet everybody who is just amazing in this sport. I say it's like an undercover mafia, you know. It's so big and nobody knows about it. And I think the world needs to know about it because there's so many kids and people out there that should get involved and it'll really change your life. So thank you for what you're doing for the sport and good luck up there at George Mason. And if there's anything else you'd like to say it.
Yeah, well, I want to say thank you for all you're doing for the sport and, giving the sport more exposure. And, the last thing I'll say is we're in the middle of a Blitz giving week that ends on the 30th. And so it's a competition for the most number of donors that we get. Any amount goes towards that total. And so it's the number of people who donate that give to the program. And so we're in a competition with the rest of the school, or the athletic department, I should say, for giving. And so we won it last year. We had the highest percentage last year. We had the most donors and the largest number last year. And we're trying to win it again. We just got a legendary soccer coach that joined the team. Took over the soccer program here, the men's soccer program, and he had won a national title at another school and is a legend of the sport. And he's done a great job rejuvenating their fan base to give. So we've got some stiff competition right now, and we're in a battle with them. And so we want to win again. And so I ask anybody that would be willing to go to our website, gomason.com, and go to the giving, the Patriot Club giving, and give to Friends of Wrestling to help us win this competition. There's a monetary prize for our program, and it all goes directly to our program and the development of our student athletes.
Absolutely. And please, when we get off, put that in the comments under your video. And then please share that information into the exchange, the World Wrestling Live Exchange, where you can interact and connect. And please feel free to communicate through there and post whatever you want. And again, good luck with your program. I look forward to seeing big things come from you. And thank you so much for coming on. The honor is all mine.
Thank you.
Have a great day.